look like a blood sausage in one of those. I'm just saying.
We got a title for the show, haven't we?
This week on That Car Show, we wrap up what was a pretty epic 2025 by planning for an even more epic 2026. We came up with what would the ideal car enthusiast gap year look like with events every month. And we were very excited to discover that at least one of us has been to most of these events. So it was tough to choose a favorite. And I really chose more than one favorite, unsurprisingly. Ryan also just got back from another 2,000-mile road trip in the Toyota Crown Signia, and he has thoughts. That and a lot more to wrap up this year on That Car Show.
Welcome to another cruise show. We're back with a bit of a special agenda this week. How's everyone doing?
Post-Christmas, recovery mode. How about you guys?
Well, Ryan's clearly doing very well. He's got a glass of red wine in his hand. So,
makes me feel fine. Yeah.
I think we're doing it wrong, Lindsay.
I know. Clearly, I just have iced tea. It's not the way to go.
Right. I've just got Coke from Chick-fil-A. But I thought this week we would do something a bit special. There is a massive year next year in terms of car stuff to be done. So I thought That Car Show should take a gap year. But I think before we go into what that means and what that looks like, I think we need to define what a gap year is. So, Ryan, I think you had a pretty good definition, didn't you?
Well, I asked the Google, and it said, bear with me, had it right in front of me.
It said,
I should preface this.
Song.
I didn't have a gap year personally, right? I mean, I didn't know what I was doing at that age. I could have benefited from a gap year or three. But so for those of you who don't know, when I gave it the Goog replied with, the purpose of a gap year is to provide an international break for personal growth, exploration, and skill building to foster maturity, clarity, and motivation, allowing individuals to gain real-world experience, clarify goals, recharge, and develop crucial life/career skills before diving into further education or work. It's a period for self-discovery through activities to foster a stronger sense of purpose. And boy, I could have used all of those things.
So, Lindsay, have you done a gap year?
I have not. I think it was just starting to, the concept was just kind of making its way to the States towards the end of my time in university. So it was not really a thing the way it is now, where it's common.
But you did study abroad, right?
I did. I was in England for a semester in college. So that was like a mini gap year.
Nice.
Even though we were still studying.
We've set the level because none of us have done a gap year yet, right? So this is what our gap year could look like. Or two, yeah. An automotive gap year with a purpose to provide personal growth, exploration, skill building, clarity and motivation, allowing us to gain real world experience. So what I thought we would do is we would plan our gap year as a group. In essence, all our gap year activities need to be car related. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some recommendations based on the months. I know some of these recommendations some of us have done, so I'll ask you to share your experiences, and we will plan out That Car Show's gap year. Are you guys in for this?
I'm game. Let's do it.
Awesome. So let's take us to January.
Fall into the gap.
Fall into, don't please mind the gap, as we would say in England.
Here we go.
First on the gap year international experiences is Retromobile in Paris. Now, Lindsay, you've been to this event, so tell us a little bit about the event and whether you would go back.
So I would absolutely go back. Last year was my first year. I have gotten to know Ramon, who runs the event. And after hearing about it for many years from him, got to go last year with my friend Laura. And it is a must-see event. And it's a fantastic excuse to go to Paris. So if I had had more time, I would have gotten there like the weekend before Retromobile, because it starts on a Wednesday and goes until Sunday. And there is plenty at the event to hold your attention that entire time, because it is a massive, it's like multiple convention halls just outside of Paris. It's very accessible from the center of town. You can just use the metro, so it's super easy to be right in the center of town, get to the event, go check it out. And then you can also do all of the things in Paris. But the event itself is so varied and there's so much to see. I really just had a day there and I covered a lot of ground and I got a very good sense of the event overall, but definitely could have spent more time because it's like a combination of SEMA and there's a live auction going on. And then there are, because there's like when we went to the LA Auto Show and there was the area with all of the Matchbox cars and they have people with different parts and they have a lot of different like European auction houses will bring some of the cars that they have. And then you've got people like, the European like Gunther Works and Singer and that kind of thing. There are, all manner of classic cars. And then in another area, they had, there was a band like as part of one of the displays. And then they had people on old-timey bicycles. They had historical vehicles on display from, wartime. It's hard to put it into a succinct description because there is so much to see and there's so much variety, but cannot say enough good things about it. And I think the really cool thing was that we ran into like a significant number of friends from the States. So it's the draw. It's kind of like Car Week in the sense that people do travel a long ways to get there. And so you get to see friends from Europe and friends from the States. And I think it's a fantastic way to kick off the gap year. Yeah. But what I didn't realize until I got there is that because it's such a draw, a lot of the auction houses will do a big European auction in Paris before the event starts or right when the event starts. I think RM's auction was like maybe a day or two before I got there. And then I think Christie's had one. So there's a lot going on in Paris adjacent to the event, kind of like what happens here with some of the events where the auction houses will do an auction in the town where the event's happening because they know everybody's already going to be there.
Ryan, does that sort of thing appeal to you?
I mean, he had me at old timey bicycles, right? I mean, who doesn't like a penny farthing?
I know, right?
I would love to go. I mean, it sounds like a great event. Everyone that I've ever known who's gone has said it's fantastic. Just kind of overwhelms the senses, right? Yeah. There's probably some French way to say that. That's even more impressive. But it seems pretty. Yeah, there you go. It seems pretty great, and would like to go sometime. Obviously, it's a little tougher than going to Carmel, but are we going to have them on the show, the organizers, at some point?
Yes, that's the plan. So we can hear it straight from them. So, but in the meantime, you'll have to make do with my attempts at describing it, putting it into words. Yeah.
I trust we can get 3 media passes.
Right.
That's Retromobile. Yeah. Not just an excuse to drink wine and eat smelly cheese. Let's
As if we need an excuse for that.
Yeah, right. The next one on the list is Scottsdale Car Week. So this is, another event that is raved about by our friend Jorge.
Right.
Have you guys heard about this event?
I have heard about it, but I have not attended.
The city of love in the U.S., Scottsdale.
That's right. Scottsdale. The culture capital of the American West. I've never been. Jorge raves about it. It's always fun to hang out with him, of course. I'm kind of on the fence this year whether or not to go, because I think it sounds like it's primarily auction driven,
right?
And it's a little more inclusive, right? Maybe than some of the auctions at say Car Week or Amelia or something. I don't know. I mean, you got the good weather, right? It's the time of the year when you want to go and get some sunshine, some rays. So, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe this will be the year. Neither one of you have been, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I've not. Lindsay, does it appeal to you?
It was not something that I was aware of really until last year, and I would love to check it out at some point. I think at this point, with it kind of coming right on the heels of the holidays, it's trickier to arrange, but I would love to visit in the near future.
Well, I am planning to go at the moment, so I will take one for the team and see what it's like and see what's going on.
You can report back.
The next one I'll report back and see whether it's worth doing. The next one isn't on our list, but I thought about it. So Meekums have an auction in Kissimmee, Florida, in January. The big ticket items, 250 GTO,
that white one that they've been pimping that thing out for what, 2 years now?
Yeah, it did.
It's an amazing
I think it was at Retromobile last year, wasn't it, Lindsay?
Possibly
250 GTO. It's been campaigned in Europe.
Yeah,
I think it was
for over a year.
I think it was at the Avant Classics on the Green over the summer.
Quite probably, yeah. Quite probably. It's a Pacific Northwest based car.
Well, that would
by
be
John Shirley. And it's a beautiful, beautiful car. And the beauty of that car is it gets taken out. So Fred Russell, who's the guy who looks after the car, he gets to drive it on behalf of the owner, and he takes it to Cars and Coffee and stuff. So it'll be a real shame if it sells, because it means it'll leave the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Didn't we see that during Car Week, though, at Mecum? I'm not imagining that, right? I had never been to a Mecum auction before. I don't want to say grown up watching Mecum auctions on television, but, I kind of did. And so it was interesting to actually go to a Mecum event. Who was I with? Was I not with you guys?
No, I never made it.
I must have been with Michael Assasso. Oh, Colin Seckel, I think was there.
Oh, yeah.
Colin. And so we did go, and they wouldn't let us in without paying, even though it was like an hour. The auction was done. And the doors were going to close in an hour, but we still had to pay $20. And I had other media passes. No, everyone has to pay. So it's just kind of a different vibe. And they had that white car out in the middle of a field, but it was surrounded by. So Mecum is different from any other auction I've ever been to, because it's a spectrum of offerings, right? And so there they had that beautiful GTO, but then they had like the world's best Toyota Paseo, right? A few cars down, and then you really wanted that Monte Carlo SS you didn't get in high school. Well, there are three of them. It's such an amalgam of different types of cars. So it's an adventure for sure, but I don't know that I'd make a point of going cross country for it.
Yeah.
It's interesting, because last year they had Jerry Seinfeld's 917.
Oh,
if you guys
yeah.
remember the one from the film Le Mans, the Steve McQueen car. And that it didn't sell, but then sold privately.
That's right.
So they're getting a few big hitters. I hear Kissimmee's nice this time of year.
Yeah. Now I just wish they'd get rid of those shiny black golf shirts they all wear. They don't photograph well on television.
No. Well, if you're listening, if you could send one to Ryan, please. We'll make sure he wears it on the show.
That'll be his standard Dakar show.
I look like a blood sausage in one of those. I'm just saying.
We got a title for the show, haven't we?
Who doesn't love blood sausage?
We called it black pudding.
Oh, black pudding. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to think about what you were talking about at first.
And we did not really eat it here.
So other events in January, the start of the Dakar. So this is one of the world's most famous rally races. It used to be that it would start on New Year's Day in Paris, as they say, and it would drive down to Dakar in Africa.
Yeah.
But they now move it around a lot, and I think it's starting in Saudi Arabia. But interestingly, which brand are going to be taking an Octa there?
Defender.
Yeah.
Land Rover.
Land Rover
are competing this year, aren't they? So we wish them the best of luck, and obviously they got a pretty cool car to do it in.
Super cool.
I'd love to attend. Right?
I got to meet Sarah Price at the Destination Defender. She's one of the official drivers, so I will be working very closely. But Ryan, I would love to go to this too. So I think the consensus is right. That car show would love to be there.
Yeah. Sam Allen, who leads the Defender brand here in the States, was on a couple episodes ago. If you missed it, go back. But kind of got me excited about Defenders and just that event in particular. I mean, that's one of those epic things, right? Like that's when we all grew up seeing footage, right, of those races, and it's
the Porsche 959, right? That was
that's iconic stuff. I mean, there was the Dakar Porsche, right? Or the Dakar or whatever, you want to call it. I mean, it's one of those iconic events, right? But I think so few people get to check that box off, right? It's not like, going to the Indy 500 or whatever. But
which is also a good
It's
option.
on the list.
Yeah.
You're jumping too far ahead. You are jumping too far ahead.
With
so
a
that's
different
January.
one. Yeah.
Speaking
Indianapolis,
of Porsche,
a little more accessible. Yeah.
Yeah. If we go to February, our friend Ferdy Porsche has his event in February, the FAT Ice Racing. The big difference year on year is that it's moved. So I think it was in your neck of the woods, Ryan.
It was just outside of Aspen. I think Carbondale technically, but all the merch said Aspen, of course. I mostly went for the Porsche party. But it was fun. I mean, that was, Aspen's always a trip anyway, right? It's the celeb sightings and everything else. I remember the year I went, there really wasn't enough snow or ice, right? So they had the event at a Christmas tree farm just outside of town, like I said, in Carbondale. It's one of those rich guy things, right? Like, Paris to Dakar or whatever. It's like, the vast majority of enthusiasts will never be able to participate or watch, some of these events. This year it's up in Montana. Yeah.
Montana. Yeah.
I don't know that
Yeah. So I think last year there were two issues. One was the lack of snow, and the other one was the permitting. So they leased the grounds, and they couldn't permit for lots of people. So it meant that they had to push the ticket prices up.
Yeah.
My understanding is that this year they have the ability to sell multiple tickets. So it's going to become, as much as Montana in February is accessible, it's going to become more accessible for the racing. And look out for some famous folks in cars. So I know that Jeff Swartz signed up.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And Matt Farah is taking his Myers Manx.
He is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, so there's going to be a lot of YouTube social media stuff going on.
Yeah. It'll be a scene, and it'll be heavily merchandised.
Right.
A lot of puffy jackets, that kind of thing. I mean, I think it's less about the racing and more about the event, right? The scene and that kind of thing. It's a cool thing. Again, it's like, I don't know, the Myers Air,
plane,
boat plane, and that. I mean, this is just like another level, a different echelon of like, passing time, and this is definitely in that category. But if you get to go, it'll be great. I'm sure it'll be a blast, and I'm sure the Porsche party will be fun too. So, never seen a spread like the spread I saw at that Porsche party. Just like a conference table full of all the best of everything. Right?
Like, yes.
Were you eating sushi off of naked women? Or?
There were people dancing around playing electric violins. There were, I don't know. It was a scene, man.
This was a hotel takeover by Porsche, right? And they even brought their own art in. Is that right?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I'll never forget. God, it's coming back to me now. Yeah. I enjoyed myself. So some of it is the memories are a little spotty. But shout out Dan McGinnis, who I think we mentioned on every show. I shared a room with him. He traded in a bunch of points. So we stayed at the hotel where the party was.
So you could fully enjoy the party.
Fully enjoyed, the bouncers. We got there a little early, and so we actually saw as they went through the whole hotel, took all the artwork, the wild horses and the pine trees and all that down and replaced it all with bespoke Porsche art, which I'd never seen, So it was definitely curated. And ran into a shocking amount of people that I knew, which was the crazy thing. So it was a good time, but I saw very little of the actual racing, I will confess, so.
Well, it always looks like an amazing event. Like every time I see the pictures, afterwards, the FOMO is very strong, which is not always the case. But it looks like definitely, even if you only got to go once, like it's definitely something that I would love to attend.
Yeah. Shout out Josh Fu, my friend from Minneapolis, who I know is going. Hey, if I can figure something, I'll absolutely go. But Aspen was a little closer than Montana, so
yeah.
Well, if you're not really into the cold, what about the warm? The 24 hours of Daytona. Lindsay, have you done this one?
I have. I have been there 3 times. Yes, years ago. The last time I was there, I had a 1-year-old with me. So it is definitely doable. It's very family friendly. You can go the family friendly route or not. But it is, again, it's another one that like you really need to experience it once in your lifetime and plan to stay up late because it's just cool to be there and see, as they start racing into the night and the way that changes just the experience. And you can walk around the track and see it from, a lot of different angles and go up in the grandstands. And ideally, if you have access, you get to go into the pits and see that. And it's, there again, like you were talking about different levels at the Fat Ice Race, there are people that go and they camp in the infield at Daytona. So again, there's lots of different ways to experience it. And, if you've done a 24-hour endurance event, it's very unique to that type of experience. Like it's not like anything else, but it's so cool. You got to do it.
My spies tell me the way to do it is to do it with Lamborghini.
Oh.
Lamborghini have a ticket that you get put up in the hotel, which is next to the track. You get golf carted to the track. You then take an elevator up to an observation level, and it's just you and the spotters for each team. And you get to see the race from a really elevated position.
Wow.
So Lamborghini, if you're listening, I'm available and willing to cover it for that car show. I've got a couple of friends who I might bring with me.
Absolutely.
That's the way to do it. So you've got two options there. You can go for the cold and the ice racing, or you can go for hopefully the warmth of the 24 hours, which is I guess it's the American version of Le Mans, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 24-hour, endurance race. Yeah.
With history?
With a lot of history. Yeah. I mean, and that track, and you can see, like, when you go, they used to do part of that event, the Daytona racing used to be on the beach, the actual beach at Daytona. So there's a lot of, you can see the historical photographs and kind of, learn the history of how it has evolved in the area. And it's, again, there's so much history. Like when I was at Le Mans, it's just, you can feel it when you're there. And so you have to go and experience it. But I was going to say, depending on the calendar, why wouldn't you do both? Do the cold and the warm, right? I mean, is this a gap year or not?
This is our gap year. We can do whatever we want. It does seem like a lot of these events are on the East Coast, though. Because if I look into March, right, Amelia, which is Amelia Island, which is a concourse event, and it's kind of like the first concourse of the year.
Right.
That's on the East Coast in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And have you both been, or is it just Ryan?
Just Ryan.
And I've only been once. I'm no expert. We went, it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. 2 years ago this year.
An electric car is that right?
Yeah.
I'm bringing back, it's like a therapy session for Ryan.
Yeah, in fact, I had reserved a Polestar and was very disappointed when I showed up and I got a Kia electric.
That's fun.
But that's okay because I ended up with, I guess, a Polestar. But
I was going to say, you were so disappointed that you had to buy the car yourself.
I was going to make it happen. That's the place, though, that they just, at least at the time, 2 years ago, did not have the infrastructure for EV charging, especially when a large event is going on. It just doesn't exist. And so once you get outside of, Jacksonville there, and you drive, a bit to Amelia, that's kind of it. I recall there was one public charging place in the whole town. It had two lines, two cords, whatever. It was owned by the city. It was like on the side of the city hall, and they were slow chargers. So it was like what I have in my garage here. So I remember waiting until one freed up and then having to park the car and then lifting back to the hotel. It was a whole thing. I thought I was being slick. But as an event, it's a lot of fun. It's there's some parallels to Car Week, right? Monterey and that kind of thing, but it's a much smaller scale. The Concord, the event was great. It's of course at, the Amelia Island Golf Club, I think it is. It's a Ritz-Carlton, if I'm not mistaken. I'll fact check that. And it's fun, but like I said, it rained the whole time we were there. I'd like to go back sometime when it's out. But it's an iconic location, right? It's definitely one of those things you have to do once. And it's definitely a lot more low key than Car Week, right? So there's that. Yeah. I think it'd be a fun trip for the three of us to go sometime.
Nice.
I'm game.
Yeah. Some good auction action and that kind of thing. And a couple people have asked why I have the CBS Sunday Morning hat behind me. And that's because when I was there, CBS Sunday Morning were there. They were following the school in Kansas, that Nate went to.
McPherson College.
McPherson College. So CBS Sunday Morning, we're following McPherson College, and that was the year that they had started with the car and brought it all the way to Amelia to be auctioned. And so it was. So anyway, I ended up talking to the guys, and they gave me the hat, which is pretty cool because
were you on TV?
No. I just talked to them off the. I think they came up to me, and I looked as out of place as they did in that auction. and we kind of bonded on that, or bonded over that,
Nice.
And really nice people. But that's my Amelia Island memory. And
I was down the road last year from Amelia Island, and they had a massive thunderstorm come in on the Sunday, so they actually brought everything forward.
That's right.
So the event took place on the Saturday. Which
Yeah.
the net was I was doing the Daytona 200, which is the bike version of the Daytona 500. But it's not a 24-hour race. It's it's an afternoon's race. But I got to the airport, and basically everyone who was anyone from Amelia had come to the airport trying to get flights home early because there was a thunderstorm coming in and stuff.
Right.
So there were people like Ralph Gilles and people like that in the lounge. But if you've not done the Daytona 200, it's a bike race that is 57 laps, and then the net result is that the first three bikes are within seconds of each other after that number of laps, and they have to do a pit stop, and it's a great event. So you could do both in theory if you wanted to. And then I threw in a wild trip that we could potentially take, which would be to go to the other side of the world and kick off the F1 season in Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
How does that sound?
Perfect. Let's do it.
Sign us up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Say less.
We like Australians in Australia.
Right.
Let's do it. I've never been. Would love to go sometime. I think that would be a real adventure, right? I mean, I don't know. Talk about taking you out of the ordinary, and I think that would be killer.
Have either of you been converts since Netflix?
I have not, but I feel like maybe it's only because I haven't gone to kick off the season in Australia. So that's how I'm gonna,
that would make me an F1 fan for life.
Right.
I just think it's so funny that all these people are like F1 proclaimed fans, and their only real reference point is a drama-laden TV show on Netflix, which has done a great job for the sport.
Yeah.
Right.
They kind of think they're experts, and
there's so much more to it.
On the street is there might be another series gaining the Netflix spotlight soon. So we'll see.
Stay
a
tuned.
hint.
No, that's all I can say. I said too much.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
Anyway. Yeah, you nearly got some inside baseball, but not quite.
It's the race to be the best automotive podcast in the world, and
are we the tortoise or the hare
three
in that,
fledgling.
Right? Feel like we're the winning tortoise.
Right.
Yeah. So Lindsay, I think we need to get Ryan to drink a couple more glasses of red wine, and we'll find out more about that Netflix
I was going
show.
to say, unfortunately, we're not, there isn't enough of the secret spilling juice yet, but we'll get
Let's
there.
come back to that later.
Yeah.
I've got a whole Kirkland large bottle of the truth serum in the house here. So
Perfect.
Like, why are you drinking a straw? That's what I want to know.
He needs those glasses where you
30-foot
straw goes in and then one goes in your mouth. Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, guys, I went to the doctor recently and I got my blood tests, and I've got to cut back somewhere. So if this means I'm drinking red wine instead of bourbon, that's.
I was going to say
it's all about the healthy choices, isn't it?
That's a healthy choice, right? It's
we are the paragons of health here at That Car Show.
Yeah, that's right. That's
I love it.
That Car Show is brought to you by Sheffield Watches. Sheffield is the storied watchmaking brand that was revived a couple of years back by our good friend Jay Turkbus, and it's seen wild success in both the car and watch enthusiast communities. Sheffield offers a wide selection of watches, many inspired by the iconic designs of its 1960s dive models, most notably the one that Jay's parents gave him in 1970, which ignited his lifelong passion for watches. Sheffield watches are high quality, reasonably priced, and a great value. Sheffield has truly become the car guy and car gal's watch of choice. Order your Sheffield watch at sheffieldwatches.com. Give them a follow on the gram at Sheffield_allsport_watches and tell them that car show sent you.
Let's move on. So far we've done January, February, March.
Yep.
April, a few different things in April. And actually we get to go on the West Coast a little bit.
Woo!
So Long Beach Grand Prix. Has anyone done that?
I have. Yes. Yep.
And it's, is it a street circuit?
They create the circuit on the streets of Long Beach. So a lot of the streets are shut down to create the racetrack, which again, it makes it a really unique event. I think that's what's so interesting is when you look at the automotive calendar across the board, like the variety of events and how different they are from each other. You could have a truly amazing year with so many different things. And, I think that's what makes the Long Beach Grand Prix so cool is it's the track is built on the streets of Long Beach, and you get real race drivers come and do the event. It's not, this isn't like I don't know what you'd call it, but like it's a real event with real drivers. I think Jensen Button, I think, was one of the drivers last year. I know like Mario Andretti has driven there. Like if you can think of a driver, they've probably driven there at some point. I know Patrick Dempsey was driving years ago when he was before, he's getting back into it now, but when he was actively racing, he drove there. And it's just cool because it's, again, like there's an infield and they have, funnel cake and like fried Oreos, but then you can also be up in the suites where it's very elegant. So it's, again, there's a lot of variety. You can have whatever level you want, and it's just cool. So yeah, I recommend it.
Nice.
You know what I remember about the Long Beach Grand Prix growing up is that they always televised it. But more exciting than the race itself was the Toyota Celica celebrity race with like Bruce Jenner and Alfonso Ribeiro, right? Like, bumping into each other in these like, I don't know, like 1988 Celicas or whatever. that was pretty cool.
So if they were to bring that back, which cars would they use?
Like have to be 86s, right?
Yeah, could be fun.
Yeah,
could be fun. Or it could be the car that you took on your road trip, Ryan.
Everyone in a Crown Signia.
Crown Signia celebrity race.
I'd watch.
It would be something.
Yeah. It would be more of an endurance race, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That car has a range of over 400 miles, and it has a gas tank, I think that's 12 gallons. So you do the math. That thing.
Whoa.
That thing will go.
That's impressive.
So Ryan has just come back from his holiday travels in this car, so he's got a first-hand experience of what it was like. And it sounds like it's one for the economy.
Well, holiday makes it sound more glamorous than it is. Yeah, it was interesting. It's not a bad car. The problem is no one knows about this thing. Toyota doesn't market it as the wagon that it is. Instead, they market it as a crossover, an SUV. And I think the other thing that doesn't quite work for me is that the Crown sedan is a lovely thing because it offers a 340 horsepower, 360 horsepower hybrid option. But the wagon, the bigger, heavier version, only comes with the smaller, the 236 horsepower powertrain. So, I'm not a big fan of hybrids outside of like the McLaren world, right? And
one has to have standards.
It's a great car. It's I drove this thing almost 2,000 miles to Minneapolis and back with my family. It makes a lot of noise as it groans. It takes some time. Entrance ramps. On the highway and this kind of thing. All these things would have been solved by the bigger engine, which unfortunately you can't get. it was fine. It was a good car. With gas is like $2 in this part of the country. Like here to Minneapolis, I think I saw as low as $1.85 for a gallon of regular gas. So I don't know that I spent $100 in gas over 2,000 miles, which is just shocking. Someone will call me on that math, but as far as a family cruiser, it was good. But I think it would have been a really good car with a bigger engine. I learned on the last day I had it, if you engage sport mode, that solves a lot of the issues because, it accelerates a little more quickly. The engine doesn't turn off at every, stoplight, this kind of thing. But how can you argue with, 31 miles to the gallon or whatever it was, and this, the highway, the speed is, the speed limit is 80 miles an hour on part of this trip. So you're doing 85 or 90 or more or whatever, right? So the fact that we achieved 31 miles
allegedly.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. It didn't enjoy it, but it did do it. I think, like all these trips, sometimes, it's less about the car and more about the journey. And this time we opted just for, I'll write an article for Autoblog. So I need different locations for photos and this kind of thing. So this time we came back through South Dakota as opposed to Nebraska. And we got to see such wonders as the world's largest Jolly Green Giant statue. It's the vegetable brand is in southwestern Minnesota. So we got a picture with that. Someone on Instagram, though, said the other day, they said, America is giving off dead mall vibes at the moment, right? And that's all I could. I thought that was such a perfect sort of, and that's the kind of the vibe we got the whole way back driving across South Dakota and western Nebraska and some of these parts of the country where, the towns are dying and it's just, the towns are few and far between. And it was a little tougher to find places to take pictures. Right on this route, if you can believe it, versus Nebraska. So it was, we stopped at one place. It was we said, what is this memorial on the side of the road? It looks like a war memorial or something from post-Soviet Russia or something, And it was a giant memorial because in 1974, this small town where we had stopped was the location of the World Plowing Championship.
Who knew?
There, I guess. Who knew? So I got a picture of that. But you forget that there's a whole world outside of Los Angeles or Seattle or even Denver, right? And most people, are living a life that is very different from the ones we live and driving the cars we do and all that. And so it was a real sort of really brought me back down to earth, both the car and the journey. So yeah, some niggling small things about this car. A lot of wind noise from the windows at higher speeds. The engine will get you there, but it just doesn't sound like it's enjoying the process. A lot of groans and just things turning on and off and that kind of thing. What else? Seats are really comfortable. I got to give Toyota a ton of credit for improving seats. A generation ago, I could not get comfortable in any Toyota seat. I know that they've put a lot of money into making better seating, and it shows. I think maybe my biggest disappointment about the car was the ride. We had stopped at Costco, with the car, had the back hatch full of groceries, and you hit a bump and all the groceries levitate for a second and then come back down. It was just, the damping or whatever. It just seemed, just seemed a little off. I hadn't experienced that in a car in years, right? I mean, most cars now are pretty buttoned down, even if they have a hard ride. That was, and then there's one section of I-80 in northeastern Colorado. If any of you listening travel this, you know where it is. It's near Sterling. It's 20 miles of some of the roughest pavement, in the interstate. It's the roughest 20 miles of anything between here and Minneapolis, and that's saying something. Minneapolis is not known for good roads. And there is this section, it's 20 miles long or so, and it's almost unbearable. It used to be you could get in the passing lane and kind of hang out there if you had to, and it was a little smoother, but now they're both really rough. And what I thought was interesting was 4 weeks ago for Thanksgiving, we had this Genesis GV70, which I really enjoyed. And that ride, and it's not the best riding car in the world, but we thought they had repaired that stretch of road because we didn't feel the bumps at all. And then the Toyota, it was just bone rattling. And so I don't know if that means the Toyota doesn't have a great ride or the Genesis had an exceptionally good ride. But that was something else, but it's a good looking thing. I've heard this car described as like a Lexus on a budget. It is not. It doesn't have that refined driving experience. What it really is it's the replacement for the Toyota Venza. If you remember,
Yeah.
if you remember the Venza. So the Crown sedan effectively replaced the Avalon, and this replaced the Venza. And so, you know, it's got a bit of an identity crisis. That said, I think if they marketed it as a wagon, it'd get a lot more attention. I don't think most people know this car existed. It wasn't until we went to the LA Auto Show and we saw a very sleek black one that caught our eye. So a good car. I think it's probably the right car for a lot of people, but it doesn't have an enthusiast bone in its body. Right. And, you know, the three of us, we kind of come at this from a different angle than most people. But I got to see, again, you cannot argue with 31 miles to the gallon over a 2,000-mile trip on, 85, 90 mile per hour, highways and this kind of thing. Decent JBL stereo. Yeah, Apple Play, all the the mod cons. It's perfect at what it is, but it's figuring out what it is, if that makes sense. And,
well, thank you, Ryan, for taking one for the team so we didn't have to try it. So you've tried it on our behalf. I also wanted to share an anecdote because I posted last week your comment on my Instagram about the Genesis. And one of my followers, Henry, shout out to Henry, said, we used to have them as company cars when I worked for a large-scale car dealership. And we used to call them Korean Bentleys. So the Genesis will forever be known as the Korean Bentley.
I love it.
And it kind of works. It's kind of what it is, right? It's kind of what it is. And I kept thinking, that GV70 had the big motor, it had 360 horsepower, whatever it was. It had the 6, but they also make a 4-cylinder that still, I think, makes more power than this Toyota, and probably would have not been too far off in
let it go, Ryan. Let it go. Yeah. You've done it. Move on.
Anyway,
let it go. Let's get back to the event schedule because there's a lot for us to cover. I think our gap year is going pretty well so far, right? So far we've been to Paris, we've potentially been to Saudi Arabia, we've been to Montana, we've been to Florida, we've been to Melbourne in Australia, we've been to Long Beach. How about the Cali? Yeah, the Cali Millet. Have you guys heard of this event?
Oh yeah, the Cali Millet. Yep.
Yeah. Have we done it?
I have not, but it is on my list. It looks incredible.
So this is a classic car rally in California, hosted by Haggerty. And are there any prerequisites to bring a car? Do you know?
I think it's 58 and older, if I'm not mistaken. It was Derek Tam Scott and Tatsuo Otis who had done it, and they were sort of comparing and contrasting to the Grand, Colorado Grand, which is probably its closest sort of analog. But apparently it's much more A to A than A to B, for better or worse.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, so the Grand, we go from town to town for the most part, not always, but for the most part. And from the way Derek and Tatsuo described it seemed to be much more tighter roads, twisty roads, but maybe more from, you start and stop in the same place, right? You spend the night in the same place kind of thing. But it's supposed to be wonderful. I mean, everything Haggerty does is top, top notch and all that. Haggerty also sponsors the Colorado Grand, but Haggerty runs the Cal Millet, right? So I'd love to do it. I mean, I adore the Colorado Grand. Won't shut up about it. And I think this is probably, the closest sort of thing, and with different terrain and geography and all that. So I would absolutely love to do the event.
Right.
If you're listening.
Lindsay, what would you want to do it in?
Oh, I would do it in a 289 Cobra.
There you go.
There we go. Default. That's pretty standard.
Yeah.
But it's a good car, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be shocked with that answer. I think that car would be really suited to the roads that they do. And, I had the chance to work on some of the elements of that event when I was working with the events team for Haggerty. So I know kind of the thought and care that goes into it. And for those that know Dave Horde, he works with them and puts together the actual route. And like Dave is a perfectionist and he loves driving and he's a true enthusiast. So I know, whatever he puts together, they're spectacular drives. And then the level of, accommodation and the food and all of that, like I feel like every year after the event, everybody says like they've somehow surpassed what they've done in the past years, which we didn't think was possible because it's such a lovely event. So it just looks magical, and the plan, it's definitely on my list of goals to do that one day, or automotive bucket list, I guess you could say.
Nice. We've got another one to do. So it's good. We've got the balance now of East Coast and West Coast.
Right.
In May, one of the Triple Crown, the Indy 500, and Ryan, I think you grew up in Indy, didn't you?
I did. Never actually went to the race, but every year we'd go to the time trials, that kind of thing.
What's that meme from Game of Thrones, which is going, shame, shame, shame?
Well, you have to remember the Indy 500 of the 80s, right? When I was a kid, I think was a very, the crowds they drew, I think were probably, they still draw giant crowds, but I think the crowds were twice as big as they are now, right? They had this snake pit. It was a whole thing, a parade downtown. I remember seeing David Hasselhoff, who was the parade.
Was he the Grand Marshal one year?
The Grand Marshal. That's what you call him. So it was a big deal. Probably a bigger deal then even than it is now. That said, I've never been to the actual race, but we go every year for time trials and that kind of thing. And we were on a budget, right? Family of four kind of thing, and I thought it was great. I mean, that's one of those top 5 automotive motorsports events, right? I mean, I think by anyone's reasoning, and it's Jim Nabors used to Gomer Pyle used to sing for like 50-60 years. He sang the national anthem or whatever it was, or no, it was Back Home Again in Indiana is what it was. He'd sing that. It was an event, right? I mean, it was.
How does that go, Ryan?
Like I also don't know the
Google
words.
that one.
Right.
maybe I'll add it. Oh, I know the words, but you don't want to hear me sing it.
And Lindsay,
he's singing his ever living heart out too. That guy, Jim Nabors,
Lindsay, have you been to this one and have you sung the Indiana song?
No, and not yet.
Okay.
Don't worry, Dan. The Counting Crows will sing it on some.
Let's do holiday karaoke
encore.
And pick that one up. So that's the Indy 500, and then if you want to bring some sophistication to the month,
right?
Villa d'Este, which is definitely a bucket list item. But have you guys done this one?
No, I just keep living vicariously through my friends like Laura and Johnny and Bassam, and just gobbling up their pictures when they go, because it just looks like another, magical bucket list event. I mean, the setting itself is just absolutely stunning. And then the cars that it attracts. And again, that's another one that people travel from all over the world to be there for. I think that's the one that Spike always jokes about when he went and somebody said, "What are you doing here?" So
that's, can you imagine if we went?
Right. That tells you the level of, I think we may have a little more work to do. So what I'm hearing.
I gotta say, Harry Metcalf. Yeah, right.
What have we got? This is on the side of Lake Garda, right? I believe.
I don't know. That shows proof I shouldn't be there.
I have to ask our research department.
I would have said Lake Como, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, I would have said too, but
it's
Harry Metcalf, who I think is like the coolest dude
in Italy.
He goes every year. He talks it up. He makes it look really good. Of course, he drives his like Countach down or whatever from the UK. Wouldn't quite be the same experience rolling up in a Seat or something, but I want to.
Topolino.
You guys are right. Lake Como. Lake Como.
Every now and then we know what we're talking about.
There we go. Harry also does a great video every year on the Dakar. So, not that we forever promoting other people's YouTube channels, but check it out. It's my favorite story about Villa d'Este is when they landed the Myers-Manx plane on the lake.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That's
pretty much the definition of cool. That A, you own, among other things, the Myers-Manx company. That B, you have your own airline called Manx Air, I think it is, or Manx Airways, right? That plane is a plane that can land on Lake Como And it's just, I mean, you guys saw the video a couple, 3 years ago, Jay Leno. There's a glass sort of secondary cockpit in the nose of the plane, that you can open as you land. And then I guess, I don't know, do a dive into the lake or something right when you land. But come on. I mean, that's kind of quintessential cool right there.
Let's go on to June.
Wait, we're only in June?
Yeah,
but
it's been an amazing year so far.
It's a big year.
June has one of our favorite events of the year, and you only do it right if you do it with a Dice-D, and it's Pikes Peak.
That's true.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are the royal family of Pikes Peak.
No, wait, Dan, you came here. That's right. We did that one together.
Pikes Peak is a hill climb event in Colorado. It goes up to just over 14,000 feet. It's an all-day event. You have a couple of options. You either go and you position yourself at the bottom of the start-finish, and you get to see all the cars as they start and leave the race, or you position yourself halfway up the mountain. You get better views, but you're stuck there all day. Yeah. And we went, and lessons were learnt. The first lesson was you don't need to be up at 3 a.m. in order to get on the mountain.
Surprise!
But I think we were first in line.
We were first in line. We were the first to fall asleep in the car on the mountain. But we thought we were playing the system, whatever, because we had press passes. We were able to get on the mountain early, but actually that didn't really give us a lot of value to do.
I have a soft spot for Pikes Peak. It's run by wonderful people. It's a really neat event with crazy history, and I mean, there's really just nothing else like it. And I think driving it would be an experience of a lifetime. Shout out Johnny Lieberman. I mean, that takes balls. That said, it's not the easiest thing to spectate, right? And so I don't feel compelled to go every year because of that. But that's one of those, you got to go once, check it off, your list. But it's a commitment, to your point, Dan, because you spend the whole day there. There's not a lot in the way of facilities and that kind of thing. You don't know what the weather's going to do. Sometimes, I think like this last year, I think they only did the first stage of 3 or 4 stages or whatever it is. So there's so many unknowns and like variables and all that. And so I think it's really hard to get like the perfect Pikes Peak experience. That said, it's one of those things I think I take for granted because it's in my backyard, and people travel from all over the world to go. It's one of those legendary motorsports events that you got to see once, right?
Yeah. And Lindsay, you nearly came with us one year.
That's right.
But I think that was probably common sense, knowing that we were going to do it wrong. But then we did it right, just to balance it out. We started off a bit rough, but then we got there. But would you go?
Oh, absolutely. Especially now that you guys have learned all the lessons.
Yeah, the hard way.
Right.
What was the vehicle?
Fine tune it.
Ford Edge.
It was a Ford Edge, right?
Ford Edge, yeah.
Does
that sound like a comfortable place to sleep?
I was in the trunk, and wasn't I? The trunk door open.
You did it.
The wind was coming in. I was there, comfortable, cozy, sleeping. Yeah.
That was
That's
great.
the commercial that the Ford Edge has been missing.
Exactly. Yes.
That's right.
If you're listening, Ford.
The best memories, right? And there's their tagline.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't talk about the great camera incident of that year.
No, but you did get some tremendous
stories. We were still early.
We were still early. Let's move on.
That tells you how much too early you were. Yeah.
So, Le Mans. Le Mans is a pilgrimage. We've talked about the Indy 500 being one of the Triple Crown. Le Mans is another one of the 3 Triple Crown events. I think, Lindsay, you were the most recent to be there from all of us. You were eating ice cream with Chris Harris.
That's right.
Jim Farley, yes.
Jim Farley. What was the experience like for you last year?
I mean, it was, again, like one of those once in a lifetime, like it was just tremendous because it's, and I've said this before, but there's so much history and energy there, even before the crowd got there, because of the races that have happened and And there have been some big tragedies there. There have been some amazing triumphs there. The, so many of the big names have raced there. And I think, there's all these kind of like pivotal moments. And I'm blanking on the driver, of course, but the driver who they used to do the running start and they would have to run to the car and get in. And, the legend is like, oh, and the safety belts wouldn't be on until the first lap was completed. And there was a driver who protested and he said, this is crazy. Like we're not even being able to use the safety equipment that's in there for us. So he walked to his car and buckled in and took off and ended up placing in the race. And, my apologies that, of course, I'm blanking. This is I'm too tired from Christmas and all of it. But, and obviously the Mercedes crash that happened and then just
Shelby winning there.
Right. The Shelby, and them going back in 2017 and winning again, 50 years after the first time. And so there's so much history that has happened there. And then, because it is a pilgrimage, so many of the people, like you go to a lot of trouble to be there, and people come from all over the world. We parked on the second day next to a restaurateur who had driven over from England, I think that morning. And, there's people from the States all over and just all over the world. So it's this amazing melting pot of a crowd who are all there. Again, it's like we talk about this, cars are the common ground that kind of bring us all together. And this is a pretty spectacular bringing together. And then the Ferris wheels, like you can go up in the Ferris wheel and watch the race. So it's just, again, it's such a unique experience. Because, Dan, when were you there?
I was there, I think it was 2006, I think. But it's interesting because it was the same year that Corvette won and Bruce Meyer has that car. So what was quite cool is I was in the stands watching that car win, and now Bruce has it. So
right. And now it's very close to you.
Yeah.
I mean, in the pantheon of motorsports events, that's got to be pretty close to the top, right?
Oh, it's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, it's the Triple Crown, isn't it? Right. That's what you've got to think about.
Yeah.
And for me, Monaco doesn't do anything for me. Like, I think that's a place where you go to be seen. You don't go to see the racing.
Yeah, that's not on the list.
Yeah, for me, it's either the Indy 500, which I'm yet to experience, or Le Mans, which I have.
Yeah. Well, someone else who's yet to experience the Indy 500. So close so many times. Right? Yeah, but that would be an easy one. Yeah. Get a Super 8 in Indianapolis. It'd be a cheap party. That'd be fun.
There we go.
I think it's like growing up near anything, though. Like I grew up not far from Disneyland, and people would say like, "Oh, I bet you went all the time," and I'm like, "We went a couple times." Like, it's you get jaded to whatever you're growing up next to. I think.
Yeah, it's true.
When it's on your doorstep. So the recommendation is that you stay in Europe after Le Mans, and in July you go to the Goodwood Festival of Speed. You guys have or haven't done it?
I have not done the Festival of Speed, but you have, correct?
Yes, I went 2 years ago. I think the top tips with the Festival of Speed is it's an amazing event. It's a hill climb with lots of manufacturers there releasing cars. It is so incredibly busy. So the first tip is go on the Thursday if you can, which is the quieter day of the weekend. Okay. Second tip is just get some grandstand tickets or get some sort of access. I was super lucky because I had a driver's medallion, which got me into the driver's lounges and stuff. Like the Americans don't seem to have a word for blag. It's like like cajole. Maybe I managed to cajole a driver's pass.
Wrangle.
But even what was that?
I think probably the equivalent would be you wrangled one or
wrangled. Yeah, but no horses were involved.
No.
You've got to do it like with a grandstand seat, I think. And the other tip is don't just stay at the bottom of the hill. There's a rally stage at the top of the hill, and that's where a lot of like heroes, idols hang out. So when we were up there, Andreas Proniger was up there, Travis Pastrana was up there, McRae's. So some of the McRae family were up there. So it's a separate rally stage and separate event. You don't need a different ticket. You just take the truck up there. They do a tractor with like that pulls a trailer, and you get on that and you go up to the top of the hill. So get good access. A hayride. There we go. Get good access. Go early on the Thursday if you can, and allow for extra time because it's going to be freaking busy. But it's a great event.
It's up there for me. I've never been. I want to do that, of course, and it's the other big Goodwood event.
The revival.
Revival. Can't
That's the one in September.
One or two.
Don't have on this list, but we can talk about that in September.
Yeah, my bucket's getting bigger.
I know.
Older. It's time to check off some of the stuff.
Good job you're doing a gap year, isn't it? Really.
This is the solution to everything, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, while you're in the UK, one thing that I am desperate to do is something called the North Coast 500.
Ooh,
so in essence, what that is a 500-mile drive around the outskirts of Scotland.
That sounds incredible.
So, you can't guarantee good weather in the UK, but I guess July is as best as any.
Yeah.
So take yourself up to Scotland and do that trip. I believe there's lots of distilleries on the way.
So I hear.
Right, I know you've converted to wine, and it's probably not very good for wine up there. But maybe you can, when you're on vacation, it doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get it.
Yeah, that's on the list.
Yeah, closest I've gotten are YouTube videos, right? Travel, writers, YouTubers, but it looks awesome. Would love to do it sometime.
Check it out. It's called the North Coast 500. Then we move into August, and really there's only one event that, anyone should be at in August, right? It's the La Jolla Concourse. No, it's not. It's Monterey Car Week. No, there's anything wrong with that.
Sorry, I thought it was a San Bernardino Concourse.
Show and shine.
Yeah,
San Bernardino Show and Shine. You can't miss that for love
Sonic.
more money. Yeah. Your local Sonic Burger. There's a new T-shirt there, isn't there?
Yeah.
San Bernardino Show and Shine. So Car Week, we've all done it. We've all been there. I think it's getting a bad rep lately, but I'm not sure that's deserved.
Right.
Favorite memories from Car Week? Any year.
Gosh. How much time do you have?
Yeah, not that much, Lindsay.
Right, I know.
It's just the mothership,
It is. I would say when we got to commentate the races a couple of years ago, that was pretty incredible. I don't know that we'll ever top that.
That was
just so that folks are aware. Laguna Seca kindly gave us press passes for the weekend, and then they asked us at the sort of 11th hour, would we be interested in commentating on some of the races? They had a professional commentator, but wanted some support. And who are us to stand in the way of a great opportunity? So you guys were live on YouTube to 40,000 people.
Yeah,
the Goodwood.
And we got to hang out with
whatever.
Jonathan Green, who is such a pro, and just chat with him. And I will never forget walking into the booth, and definitely having the worst case of imposter syndrome. And he's just such a pro. And he was like, we're just going to talk. I'm so glad you guys are here. Yeah. We're going to have a good time. No stress. We're just going to have a conversation. And it was like, this is just so much fun. And he's so cool. So that was definitely, peak memory. Well, especially because the race that I did, I got to commentate it with Jonathan and my dad. And my dad looked at me and he said, if you had told me the first time that we came to the races, which really it wasn't Car Week, even at that point, it was in 1997, and it was really just the vintage races and Pebble and Quail, and it's obviously developed into this, week to 10-day long event at this point. But he said, if you had told me when we first came up here that at one point we would be in the broadcast booth, I would have said you were nuts, and here we are.
Yeah, it was special. It really was. I'm still, my mind's blown that actually happened, and it was thanks to you,
right?
And Alicia Busa, who was there at the time. To your point, I wasn't gonna say no, right?
No.
And of the three of us, I probably know the least about motorsport, right? It's just how it is. I'm a Canyon guy, right? I kind of come at it from a different angle, and racing has never been a huge part of. yeah, and that's fine. But then you're at Laguna Seca and you're going to commentate a race, and then I found out it was F1 cars of the Andretti era or something, which of all the cars, I probably knew the least, right?
Talk about a niche slice of motorsport. Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't want to embarrass myself, right? I just didn't want to embarrass myself. And I don't think I did. I tried to get a couple jokes in. I remember that. And, you're taking a risk because you don't know if they're going to hit or fall flat or whatever.
Right.
But it was that's in my, that's one of those experiences I'll never forget. It was truly special.
Right.
I'll never do it again. I'll never want to do it again. But I'm so glad that I did it. It was really, really cool. Have you ever like looked up the footage like on YouTube or whatever to find
I've listened to it.
Race? Have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I
made my whole family.
What insomnia? Come on. In the race I commentated had
Jensen?
had some real notable people in it too, right?
Yeah.
So, it was I don't remember anymore. McLaren's
Zach Brown?
CEO, Zach Brown and I think our Ford friend was there wasn't he driving?
Mr.
Or
Farley?
someone from
Maybe
Farley?
Jensen was there?
Yeah, it was I don't even remember. It was a blur, but it was amazing. And
It was a good blur though.
we talk about the things, that we've gotten to do because of this show and, previous things that we've done. And it's hard to believe the things we've weaseled our way into.
Right.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Car Week is...
If only Meekum had known that week. We're kind of a big deal at Laguna Seca, Meekum.
I know.
Right.
I know.
Apparently,
I could have
my
rapped about the 12
commentating.
Batmobiles,
Isn't enough. That was just one highlight. I mean, we could go do a whole show on Car Week, couldn't we? But
And we
kudos
have.
to
And we will
both of you,
again.
indeed, both of you for going out of your
Multiple
comfort zones
times.
and stepping up and being on the mic. So
It's fun.
yeah,
It's
and
fun.
take a listen to the shows that we've done around Car Week because there's a lot more experiences, but we probably need to move on.
Right.
September. Nothing happens in September, does it? That's the quiet month.
So
I can see Ryan getting redder and redder.
well, and
So
you could choose to stay in the States or you could go to Europe because you could create at least a couple weeks in England because they have the Hampton Court Concours, which may not be the official name of it, but something happens in Hampton Court. I believe it's a Concours, and that's the week before the Goodwood Revival. And I feel like then there's something in Paris after that, maybe, or there are multiple events that you could string together were you so inclined and have quite a European vacation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
Or you could go to
conclude with the
Colorado and
with the Grand.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys, we talk about this as like a fantastical like grand gap year, but there is a whole circuit of people who do. There's a whole circuit of people who do every one of these events pretty much every year, right? That is their life. They bounce around from auction to event to race to. There is a strata of people who do just these things, and and hey, more power to them. But the Colorado Grand
goals,
is
right, guys.
Yeah, that's they have people like us that counterbalance those people, right? But
also, if you look at it, right, a lot of us have done a lot of things on this list already. So we're doing pretty good, I think.
We are.
I would say we're
And
doing
for me, the
amazingly
Colorado
well.
Grand is a highlight. That is tops them all. That is just it's become a very special event for me. I made so many dear friends. It's just something I will do until the day I die. It is if they'll let me, right? It's that,
And there,
it's that special.
could you have a better endorsement of an event? I think not.
Right. I think not. Talk about bucket list.
Right. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. No,
Nice.
I know I have really enjoyed hearing you talk about the event, and it's clearly very special and the group of people that do it. And I love that the event gives back to the communities that you visit.
Yeah.
So it's not just, just a car event. I think it really makes a meaningful difference for a lot of the little towns in Colorado and around. And it just, and we've gotten to know Tom, who runs it at Car Week, and he's just such a nice guy. And Like, I would love to participate in some way in the near future.
That will be, yes, I think that's what we need to make happen. You
we'll add it to the list of goals.
So that's right.
Nice. No slowing down in October.
Nope.
Go to Atlanta and go to Petit Le Mans. Have either of you done this event?
Not yet.
No. It's kind of like another endurance race, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Road Atlanta is supposed to be an amazing track.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a great place for for watching. So I think it's on the bucket list.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then we go to November. There's a Grand Prix in Vegas. And if anyone knows how to put a Grand Prix on and make it a show, it's Vegas. It'll obviously be in its 4th year next year. And, the first year it had a few challenges. First year I had a few challenges, which will be a Patreon show at some point in the future when I can talk about me being the reason that there is a cement line on the start-finish straight in the very first race. I think I can talk about it.
Do they
now.
call it the Dan Pilling Memorial Stripe or something?
Yeah.
I think they should do. This was a cement stripe, and it was exactly proportioned to the vehicle I was driving. But we will talk about that in a future show. But it's a great event. It's a great show. It's always a great weekend. They are learning as they're putting it on. So the first year it was on very, very late. I think they were trying to get European audiences, but now they've kind of dialed that back. It's a Saturday night race. Any interest? I know that the Dicey's went this year and had a great time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I would love to go.
I'm not a Vegas guy, but I'd love to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate Vegas with a passion. I just it's just everything that I don't like in one place.
I'm kind of with you, Dan. Yeah.
And I can bear it for 48 hours, but I want out at that point. But to go for the Grand Prix, the top tip here is go hang out at the Win, because that's where all the team principals and all the drivers stay. So go do some people watching in the Win. If you guys get the chance, shout out to Larry Chen. Larry got involved with a Mercedes video this year, and it's a Mercedes video featuring George Russell as a valet. And who's that good-looking Formula One film guy? Brad Pitt.
Oh,
so Larry did the photography for this video. So he didn't do the videography, but he did do the photography.
Okay.
And he said it was very similar to the old days of Hoonigan, where you would shoot from 7 at night till 7 in the morning. But he's just posted a YouTube video on this, and it looks really good. It looks, kudos to him. He's got some great pictures of both George Russell, a car and this is a prototype car, being drifted, and of course Mr. Pitt, which I would imagine that's the easiest part of his job, because it's probably very difficult to get a bad picture of Brad Pitt. I would guess. It's a bit like trying to shoot Ryan. It's very difficult to get it wrong.
You hardly have to take any pictures.
What's that? A PayPal $100 has just come in from Ryan Buck.
Hey, I'm a Venmo guy. That's
the Vegas Grand Prix. Maybe we should do that this coming year.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That or the Volkswagen show. That actually looks like a hell of a lot of fun.
I know. I was going to say, I realized there's one more event in October, and it's what has become a massive Volkswagen show called One Crazy Weekend. And what reminded me was when we were there at the beginning of October, they were already starting to set up for the Grand Prix, even though it was several weeks out at that point, because it is a massive undertaking. So go for One Crazy Weekend, stay for the Grand Prix. But that's probably way too much Vegas for a lot of people.
Definitely. But
you know what I want to do?
Go on.
I was going to say, I hear there's one place that you can watch the race unencumbered and for free, and that's by taking that escalator up and down and up and down and up. Have you seen this? So there's one place,
there's usually
build a fence around
there, like moving you along.
You're in public. I don't know. It's just
I like it.
Got a disability. I don't know.
Yeah.
I nominate Ryan to attempt this strategy and report back.
Right.
Anyway,
there is also, I need to give a call out to the Win concourse. So this is, I think it's 4 or 5 years old, but mark my words, that is becoming one of the biggest events of the year.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind. Our friend of the show, Justin Bell, is the MC for the event.
Right.
And it's becoming bigger than anyone I think realizes.
Yep.
So well, I mean, this year they did a lot of good stuff, unveiled new cars. So yeah, watch this space.
Yeah, it's an elegant event, and I think it's a sleeper. It's like a if you know, you know, and it's a lovely event if you've been. But yeah, I think it's definitely growing, and I hope to make it there sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and in January, if you couldn't get to Paris, Retromobile will be coming to New York in November.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
It's the first time they're doing the event in New York. It could be a great experience. You know, that sort of holiday vibe plus some beautiful cars.
Yeah, that'll be the first
Absolutely.
Retromobile in the States. So, and when I was there in Paris in February, I got to talk to Geroy and Romain, and they shared a lot about how they chose New York. And they really looked at a lot of different locations, but they wanted to make it accessible as possible for people from the West Coast and also Europe to, you know, encourage as many people as possible to attend. And they're really excited about it. And hopefully they will join us and tell us more about it.
Yeah. Look forward to that.
Nice. And for December, I just put go for a drive.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to end your gap year, isn't it? Just decompress, get in the car, and go for a drive.
Yeah.
And so are
Absolutely.
you going to create, like, take a trip to go drive somewhere? Or are we thinking at that point we are tired, we want to be home, so we're taking drives from where we live?
Yeah, I think it's use your home as your base and just going for a drive.
Yeah. Ordinarily, December would not be a good driving month here in Denver, but this month it actually was freakishly warm and snowless. So.
Wow. It's
So
global
get out and
warming,
drive.
I guess.
Yeah. Get down to
If you
LA
guys
instead.
could pick one event from the list next year, which one would it be? I think, Ryan, we know your answer already, so you're not allowed that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be mine. If I had to pick another one, I really would like to go. It's got to be one of the Goodwood events. It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
I think maybe the Revival.
Well, and I think we could make the question even more difficult by saying it has to be something that you haven't attended already, because so many of these things are so incredible that, you know, it's an impossible question, really.
Yeah.
I would have to
Come on,
say
pick one, Lindsay.
I know. What if I pick one and a bonus? So the Fat Ice Race, because I really do want to experience that, and that's not something I've done before. Ooh, I need two bonuses. Cal Millet and Retromobile New York.
There we go.
So it's a three-way tie.
It's
Nice.
kind of amazing
it's
that
great 3 events, right?
Yeah, no, it's kind of amazing between the three of us. We've done almost all of them. But what about you, Dan?
Yeah.
I really have a hankering for the North Coast 500. I really have a hankering for going to hire a car and just drive around Scotland.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah,
I think that would be amazing. Oh, also Villa d'Est. There's just too many good events.
I know.
Which is an amazing problem to have, right?
Yeah. But a good
San
list.
Bernardino it is.
San Bernardino, show and shine.
Meet you guys
We're
there.
coming. We have probably missed lots of great, amazing events. So an ask for our audience, give us a shout out, let us know, put it in the comments for the show, put it on the Instagram. I'm sure we've missed stuff that is really cool, potentially stuff that's underground that people don't know about yet. But let us know what we should be doing, and we would love to hear from you guys.
Help us fill out our year so that our gap year, we are never at home. We're only doing
Give
amazing
Lindsay
car
another
events.
5 options that she can add to the list when you ask her to pick one.
Right.
Are we 2 hours yet?
Yeah. It's
Does
a
it feel
marathon
like
show.
it?
It's like having
right.
like having Brian Scotto on your show, isn't it?
There's just so much
this
good
has
stuff
been
to
fun.
say.
Yeah. Well, I think by the time this airs, we'll be in the new year. So we'll wish everyone a happy and prosperous new year. Remember that you should always be
Driving.
driving. And until next time, it's That Car Show.